right, Miles, let's talk about Cincinnati here for a little bit. Obviously, the Bengals have had a really good offseason. They've added some key players. They did have a few guys leaving free agency, but overall, the roster looks in strong shape, mainly because of Joe Burrow behind center. This team is looking to take that next leap. Obviously, made the Super Bowl 2 years ago, got robbed allegedly against the AFC in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. Very controversial game, how that all shaped out there. But right now in Cincinnati, all eyes are focusing toward the future. And there's a report out for the Bengals that shows maybe how good this team could be, maybe even better than some top contenders or the top contender in the AFC.
Yeah, Nick, the Bengals are very, very good, and Joe Burrow is a very, very good quarterback. But today, I think for the question we want to ask the Bengals fans is about the guy behind the guy, sort of. Who is your favorite backup quarterback of all time? We all know a lot of people probably think Joe Burrow is probably one of their favorite quarterbacks of all time for the Bengals. But who is your favorite backup quarterback for the Bengals of all time? Who gave you the most confidence when they got onto the field? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from the partner of today's video, Neuro. But Nick, nonetheless, what is the great news that you got on the Bengals?
Yeah, Miles, before I get into that report, I want to give a shout out to a viewer of our regular Bengals content, Herb Austin Camp. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Herb caught me saying Bengals instead of Bengals. That's wrong. That's my bad. The correct pronunciation is Bengals. We always pride ourselves on having a smart, really dedicated listening audience. Herb, thanks for calling me out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe again. Looking forward to hearing from you. But all right, let's move on to the story. Look, all right, so the Bengals with Joe Burrow behind center are seen as the potential number 2, maybe number 3 team in the AFC. Obviously, the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes appear to be the big dog because if you listen to the prevailing wisdom in the NFL right now, Mahomes is the clear-cut number 1 quarterback. You listen to all the talking heads, ESPN, CBS, Fox Sports, they all say the same thing. But if you listen to a guy who knows, a guy who played quarterback at the highest level, there's a different opinion about the Burrow-Mahomes concept. And Miles, if you want to throw up the story here, I'll go ahead and get into it. Appearing on the quarterback room with Jordan Palmer, Carson Palmer said Burrow is the best quarterback in the league, and that one key thing that separates the two players, separates the two players in his mind. Palmer said, quote, "I think Joe is the best quarterback in the league. I know Patrick is phenomenal, but I just think Joe's more consistent. He's more consistent. He's more accountable to run the system, the play that's called, and not feel like, well, he didn't win last time and get open for me, so I'm going to do it with my feet. And then before you know it, you're sacked for a 4-yard loss because you try to make 2 or 3 guys miss. Joe is just talk about not having a weakness. Mentally strong, physically tough, accurate, can throw it far enough, fast enough, get the ball out quick, and then can actually do a lot with his legs." All right, Mike. So one of the things I always take into account, because listen, we all watch football. We all have our opinions of, hey, who's better than who's a good player, who's not a good player. But I always look at the guys who played the position at an extremely high level in the NFL because they really would know. They're the guys that know what it's like to go through the day-to-day grind and, of course, to play the game on Sundays, whether they're up by 10, down by 10, tie game late in the fourth quarter, especially a guy like Carson Palmer, veteran guy, had a lot of success, of course, with the Bengals, but had some success with the Arizona Cardinals, played for the Raiders as well during his time in the NFL. He knows quarterback play at a very, very high level. So I take his words here when he comes out and says Burrow is better than Mahomes with a lot of seriousness here. Because if you look at Joe Burrow and what he's been able to do with that franchise, right? Mahomes took a good Chiefs team and made it better, made it great. Joe Burrow basically took a Bengals team that was down in the dumps. They were terrible and brought it to the NFL's elite. And potentially, right, they overcame the Chiefs 2 years ago and probably had a really strong chance, if a few calls don't go against their way, to overcome the Chiefs last year as well. So I think Palmer really may be onto something here, Mice. Give me your thoughts on his comments and everything with Burrow and the Bengals right now.
First off, Nick, I think that Palmer, as you said, Carson Palmer, knows a ton about football. Like you said, he's played it at the highest level. So his opinion is very important, as well as Jordan Palmer. Jordan Palmer has been taking in some of like the top level recruits or draft guys over the last number of years and training with them, doing that. So he's seen some of the best quarterbacks come through, his program that he runs. So I think, first off, these guys' opinion is very, very knowledgeable, very important. They've seen, as you said, the highest level of play at the quarterback position. And I don't necessarily think personally that Joe Burrow is better than Mahomes. But I think that the argument here is people are saying Mahomes is here and everybody else is down here. And I don't think that's true at all. I think Mahomes is here and Burrow is like right here. And the second that he can close it all and win a Super Bowl, which I think he will very shortly, I think they're neck and neck, if not Joe Burrow getting the edge on Patrick Mahomes because of the reasons that Carson Palmer stated. He is more consistent. He is a little bit more well-rounded. He doesn't try to force stuff quite as much. But that is really interesting argument to me, Nick, because people do give Patrick Mahomes too much credit sometimes, and they kind of think he's a little bit further ahead than everybody else is. And Joe Burrow is right there neck and neck with him. And I think the only argument you can hold is the Super Bowl argument. Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, but he has not yet won a Super Bowl. Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls, been to 3. So once Joe Burrow can close that gap, I think he's right there with him, if not ahead of them. And I think this is a really great thing because people in the media are probably scared to bring up a topic like this because someone's going to come after you. They're going to say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, blah, blah, blah. But Palmer knows what he's talking about. So when we listen to what he has to say, it really does make sense. And I'm glad someone's out there kind of speaking their mind and really telling the truth on the situation because a lot of people would be afraid to do this. But I thought it was a really great comment by him, Nick.
Yeah, and it's not just Palmer, right? Obviously, he has his opinions, and some people say, well, he's biased. He played for the Bengals. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to PFF, Pro Football Focus. They sit there, they break down all the game tape, they evaluate the players. They have some former players on their staff. They have some just analysts, some advanced analytics numbers, and they basically crunch down and grade the players. They grade every snap, every throw. And if you go back through 2022, Joe Burrow is actually the number 1 quarterback in the NFL according to their grades. He beats Pat Mahomes on like a tiebreaker down to like the 100th or 1,000th decimal point. They're literally neck and neck. Both of them grade out at a 92.0. I think Burrow gets him down at some crazy low-level tiebreaker decimal. But that's exactly where Burrow belongs. He's right there with Mahomes, maybe even a little bit ahead. According to PFF, they're the guys who watch the film. They break down the film and do advanced analytics to grade the players. So you look at that. It's not just Palmer. It's the guys who took the time to grade every single game and every single throw out. Because one of the things with Mahomes is he wins the Sports Center because he does all the crazy things. Burrow, all the the left-handed throws and the no looks and things like that. Burrow doesn't make a whole lot of those plays. He just makes a lot of really, really good plays all of the time. So he's not all over sports in the way Mahomes does. But if you grade out every throw, every play, every game, Burrow is just as good, if not better than Mahomes, if you look at PFF or if you listen to Carson Palmer. And I think Bengals fans should be really excited about this because I think right now what we're seeing, there were some rumors there was going to be, hey, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, that was going to be the duel in the AFC for the next decade. Not anymore. Right now it's a Burrow versus Mahomes conflict. That to me is the next Brady, Peyton Manning conflict. That was all those things in the AFC for a number of years. And if I'm a Bengals fan, obviously you're excited to see where Joe Burrow is at this point in his career. He doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and this team will be right up there with the Chiefs, I think, for the next half decade or decade or so. It's going to be real exciting to watch. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro gum. Neuro gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.